Close your eyes for a moment and picture a morning where your mind arrives before your body, where a single hour of focused work yields the clarity others chase all week. You smell strong coffee, sunlight warms the desk, and you feel a quiet satisfaction as the first item on your list disappears. That life is possible. It feels almost unfair because it is efficient, precise, and almost surgical in its results. Most people never see it because they accept being busy as a substitute for being productive. You do not have to accept that. Right now, your brain is wired to conserve effort and chase comfort. It treats distraction as a reward and delay as the safe option. You have trained it, often without noticing, to favor short-term pleasure over deep progress. That is why you wake up full of intentions and end the day wondering where the time went. The diagnosis is simple and scientific. Your reward system is miscalibrated. Your prefrontal cortex is undertrained for prioritization, and neuroplasticity is waiting for the right signals to rewire your patterns. Today, you will learn the Napoleon Hill method adapted to modern neuroscience. It is not ancient magic. It is a set of rituals and cognitive investments that shift your identity from someone who tries harder to someone who gets more done by design. There is a power in you that the old books call desire and that modern labs call motivated neuroplasticity. Dopamine is not just about chasing pleasure, it is about valuing progress. When you break tasks into meaningful steps and reward progress, dopamine becomes a compass, not a trap. When you decide to protect your cognitive energy like a portfolio, you begin to act like an investor in your attention. Neuroplasticity will reorganize neural pathways to support the habits you practice with intention. That is the promise here. In a structured 30 days, you can build circuits that make focus the default and distraction the exception. If you are ready right now, comment "I accept" and let that small public commitment be the first act of reprogramming. First, I will show you the mistake almost everyone makes. Then you will get practices that activate the same mechanisms elite performers use. Listen to one scene you may recognize. You wake with the phone buzzing. Sarah texts a meme. Marcus posts a video. Alina sends an update at 7 a.m. You think, one quick check. The check becomes 30 minutes of scrolling. You feel the softening of resolves like a tide. Your chest tightens, a deep tension rising, and you tell yourself you will recover later. Later never comes. The sensory details matter. The screen glare, the stale coffee taste, the hollowed-out sense of time. That is the trap. You are not lazy. You are misdirected. The prefrontal cortex wants clear rules. Without them, dopamine will hijack your agenda. Now let us examine the pattern in real-life examples. You have seen people like Coach James, who blocks notifications and works like an archer aiming at one target. You have seen Dr. Patel, a researcher, describe small wins as the only sustainable reward for long projects. You will meet characters in this narrative: Coach James, who designs the blocks of focus; Sarah, who learns to use conscious pauses; Marcus, who tests the morning cut; Elena, who journals purpose; and Anna, who measures progress with a simple score. Each of them makes a choice that changes their neural wiring. These names will appear because concrete allies make change believable and replicable. Backstory matters. As a kid, you remember constructing elaborate forts from cardboard in the living room, the sound of scissors on corrugated edges, sunlight slashing through blinds, and the small triumph when the structure stood. You learned early that play plus focus creates results. Later in college, you studied systems and patterns, sat in lecture halls under the hum of fluorescent lights, and felt the thrill when a theory finally made sense. You read early editions of classic books and scribbled plans in a battered notebook. Now, in the present, you are the person stuck between ambition and execution. You have skill, you have ideas, and you lack a scalable routine that converts input into progress. That gap is where the Napoleon Hill method, reframed with neuroplasticity and cognitive economics, will live. Let us name the problem precisely. You scatter your attention across too many priorities. You treat every notification like an urgent demand, and you confuse motion with momentum. Research syntheses from labs studying performance show that prolonged context switching drains cognitive energy and blunts the prefrontal cortex. Flow only arrives when your environment signals one clear target and your nervous system expects reward for progress. The mistake is not working harder. The mistake is failing to design the conditions where work becomes effortless and rewarding. Imagine your attention like a battery. Every time you resist a distraction, you spend a small amount of charge. Without rules, you fritter the battery on trivia. With a ritual, you preserve it for deep tasks. Here is a moment of tension you might face when making the change. You implement your first morning cut. You leave the phone in another room, you commit to one 90-minute block of focus, and your calendar obliges you to do the work. At minute 45, your colleague Marcus knocks on the door with a small crisis. You feel your heart rate rise, palms damp, the air feels thicker. You want to give in because giving in feels kind and immediate. You tell yourself one quick interruption will not matter. Then you remember your rule. You feel the resistance tighten in your chest, a deep tension exacting payment in discomfort. That discomfort is the transaction cost of new identity. Pay it now and the account grows. Avoid it and the future you owe interest on lost hours. Now the mechanism. The Napoleon Hill method historically taught the power of desire, of a written plan, of a group to hold you accountable. Translate that into modern terms and you get 3 neurocognitive levers: precise intention, measurable progress, and structured reward. Intention focuses the prefrontal cortex. Measurable progress triggers dopamine in manageable bursts. Structured reward, like a conscious pause or a brief sensory reset, caps the urge to chase novelty. Think of it as designing feedback loops. Your brain responds to patterns with neuroplasticity. When you repeat a ritual that signals value and provides early reward, synaptic strength reallocates to support the new behavior. Identity shifts from "I am distracted" to "I am someone who protects deep time." To bring this alive, here are practices you will use. Practice 1. The morning cut. The moment you wake, you perform a 3-step ritual. Breathe for 60 seconds, hydrate, and write the single most important outcome for the morning. No phone until your first block of focus is complete. Sensory notes. Feel the coolness of the water, hear the rhythm of your breath, taste the clean alertness. Practice 2. Blocks of focus. Work in 90-minute blocks or 90-minute equivalents that fit your rhythm, followed by conscious pauses of 10 to 20 minutes. Use ambient sound or silence to mark the boundary. Practice 3. The rule of 3 priorities. Each day, choose 3 outcomes and make them non-negotiable. Practice 4. Micro rewards. After completing a meaningful step, give your brain a measurable reward, such as a 5-minute walk, a small stretch, or a piece of fruit. These are not indulgences. They are targeted dopamine releases that reinforce progress. Practice 5. The evening recon. 10 minutes of review that logs progress and clears the prefrontal cortex for sleep. These practices work because they convert vague ambition into repeatable signals for neuroplasticity. Now hear a dialogue with Coach James and Elena practicing the method. You say, "I cannot stay focused. I lose steam after an hour." Coach James replies, "Try the morning cut and guard a single 90-minute block." You answer, "What if I get interrupted?" Coach James says, "Name the interruption and plan a response." Elena chimes in, "I felt silly at first, but the conscious pauses rebooted my attention." You ask, "How do you measure progress?" Elena answers, "I mark 3 items and score each as done, partial, or not done." Coach James concludes, "Progress over perfection." That exchange is simple, sensory, and practical. You can imagine the echo of footfalls, the rustle of a notebook, the dry click of a pen as the system engages. These 5 named allies find small victories in real settings. Sarah practices conscious pauses between calls. Marcus protects his morning work with a locked door. Dr. Patel measures reaction time to tasks and tweaks reward size. Anna keeps a simple progress journal, and Leo shares weekly accountability notes in a small group. Maya hosts the community check-ins that sustain momentum. A second moment of tension comes when a large project stalls. You stare at a blank document. The room smells faintly of paper and old coffee, and the cursor blinks with impatient light. You panic because the work feels too big. You imagine failing in front of peers and feel a hot flush. The Napoleon Hill element of clarity cuts through this. Break the project into 1-hour sub-goals and celebrate each tick. The tension does not disappear, but it becomes a manageable toll that you can pay in small installments. Your nervous system learns to expect success in pieces instead of catastrophic judgment. Beyond techniques, adopt a philosophy. Treat your attention as capital and your routine as the investment strategy. Become an investor in your cognitive energy. Allocate it to high-return tasks and protect it with policies. Purpose is the compass that sets your priorities. Flow is the market signal that your brain gives when you are aligned with purpose and capabilities. The work of building a productive mind is not merely mechanical. It is moral in the sense that you decide what you honor with your time. When you honor progress with measurable steps, you change your identity. You go from someone who tries to be productive to someone who lives a rehearsed excellence. Studies in performance show that people who adopt identity-based rules sustain behavior far longer than those relying on willpower alone. A third tension arrives when social pressure conflicts with your new rules. Sarah invites you to a last-minute meeting, your boss wants quick answers, and your community expects you to always be reachable. You feel guilt like a dark weight in your stomach. You must negotiate boundaries. Say, "Thank you, I can respond after my block," and propose an alternative time. Practice empathy and firmness. You will lose some people at first. You will also attract those who respect the clarity. That trade-off is part of moving toward a life where cognitive energy is preserved for what matters. Now, the Napoleon Hill 30-day challenge. Week 1, morning cut every day. 3 priorities each morning. 1 90-minute block protected. Evening recon. Week 2, add conscious pauses and micro rewards. Test 2 variations of block length and record which yields deeper flow. Week 3, introduce accountability with a partner like Leo or Anna and share weekly progress with Maya. Week 4, consolidate rituals and measure baseline metrics such as number of deep hours, subjective clarity, and a simple progress score. Daily rituals: wake, hydrate, breathe, write the 1 outcome, protect 1 block of focus, take conscious pauses, close the day with 10 minutes of recon. Use a simple habit tracker and score each day with a 3-point progress scale. This is practical, sensory, and measurable. Each night, notice the feel of your shoulders, the taste of a restful meal, the comfort of a bed that welcomes a focused mind. Practical microscripts. When the urge to check the phone hits, say aloud, "Not now, I am protecting deep work." And stand up to perform a 20-second stretch. When you are offered a meeting, ask, "What is the outcome we need from this meeting, and can it be handled in a 10-minute async note?" When a large task looms, open a file and write 5 words that start the motion. These tiny acts prime dopamine and move the system. They are the small investments that compound into identity. 1 month from now, you will notice 2 things. You will feel a different shape to your days, and you will have accumulated a bank of completed outcomes. You will sleep cleaner because the prefrontal cortex has less unresolved noise. 3 months in, your neural circuits will show visible change in habit strength. You will find it easier to enter flow, and your sense of purpose will be clearer because routine has aligned with intention. 6 months in, strangers will comment on how much you get done, and you will feel the quiet power of a mind that is designed, not chaotic. That is the epilogue of this method in 3 temporal lenses. At 1 month, you reclaim hours and gain momentum. At 3 months, you have measurable shifts in productivity and identity. At 6 months, the compound effect turns your new habits into baseline attributes people assume you were born with. If you are ready, commit in the comments with "I accept" and name the single outcome you will protect tomorrow. Your comment matters because saying it aloud or in public recruits social dopamine and makes the plan more real. Subscribe if you want weekly tools that mix neuroscience and practical ritual. I will read responses and highlight progress in future episodes. Remember that dopamine is a tool, not an enemy. Neuroplasticity is your ally when you design repeatable signals. Protect your prefrontal cortex like capital. Choose progress over perfection. Conclude with this: a mind that decides to be productive is unfair to distraction because it has chosen to win.